That's kind of,
Interesting.
you know.
Yeah, I was
That's
down at
interesting.
the
Hydrogen fuel
car
cells
show
in
in
an electric
DC.
car, it just
Right.
uses electric from.
Right.
I was down at the car show down in DC this week for half a day, and they had a fair number.
Recording in
They
progress.
didn't really have that many electric cars, but they did have a number of hydrogen electric
We're
cars
live.
as well.
We're-
Yeah, I know. Fine. I hereby call the special meeting of the Greenbelt City Council to order. Madam Assistant Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Here.
Ms. Pompey,
Here.
Ms. Pope,
Here.
Mr. Robert,
Here.
Ms. Weaver,
Here.
Mayor Jordan.
I'm here. A couple of information items. There's a Four Cities meeting tomorrow in College Park. Who's going to attend?
Think I will.
I'm going to attend. So we may carpool. All right. So who wants to carpool?
I will, there's a Greenbelt Station Homeowners Association that I need to be at, so I will be driving myself.
Understood. So what time do we need to be here if we carpool?
Sorry, I haven't timed it, so,
20 minutes.
okay. So whenever we can assemble everybody with 15 minutes of travel time.
6:30?
That's good.
Okay. Second thing, with our work session with Dr. House, the school superintendent, we were talking a little bit about water quality in the schools, the water fountains and lead. And, it seems to be an ongoing challenge in older buildings like Greenbelt Middle School, to some extent, Spring Hill Lake Elementary School. So we received a letter from the National League of Cities, and they were looking for support. It's the Water Now Alliance and the National League of Cities. There's a lead and copper rule improvement bill that's aimed at public health and reducing lead in drinking water. So they've asked members to sign on, and I was going to sign on. I just wanted to check if there's any objection.
No.
Any other information items?
So this is just to note the information items for the open session. This is a letter to the school board,
It's actually to the
EPA,
EPA.
about school water quality issues.
Yes. So tonight it's a special meeting, and as you may know, or as you probably know, in order to go into an executive session, we have to have a special meeting. We can't take actions in a work session. So that's the main reason, one of the reasons why this is a special meeting. We had the interviews last night. 5 applicants came, and each was able to speak with council for 30 minutes. We live streamed that on Facebook, on the cable television station, and on YouTube as well. So tonight, we are going to deliberate, talk about the qualifications of the applicants, our perception of the qualifications. And we did develop and use a rubric, a framework based on input from council members and the public in terms of qualities that would be important in our decision-making around these qualifications, trying to rank based on qualifications. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. And we'll be doing part of that in a closed session. Any voting that takes place will take place in a public session. We'll go into an executive session. We'll come back at some point. And unfortunately, I can't really speculate on what time we'd be coming back. But we are going to keep the live stream open, so you can check back intermittently. Also, I think we'll probably post something or send out an email maybe 15, 20 minutes before we come back into open session for a vote. So I was talking with Mr. Deloche, our corporate or municipal attorney, a little bit, and so I really don't know how this is going to go, just in terms of reaching some kind of a consensus. Ideally, what I'd like to see happen is for us to reach a consensus, and when we come out on the qualifications, and when we come out to vote, it would be nice if we could do that by acclamation somehow. I'm not sure that that's how it's going to happen. And of course, we can't take any actions in an executive session. But, we have to work together. This is a 2-year term, and feelings are very, very high. So, I'm not going to get into conversations about people's qualifications in an open public session. I think that's just inappropriate. There could be some liability issues. So that's my proposal for what we do tonight. A couple things we could do. We could pause for some public comment for a few minutes, maybe for 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know if council wants to do that. We've gotten an immense amount of public input. This all started with Councilman Gordon's untimely passing. We began to talk about the process back on December the 12th. We voted on a process on the 11th. We had additional discussion on the 20th, listening sessions on the 21st and the 30th, special meeting on the 3rd. So, we've gathered quite a bit of public input in person, and that's above and beyond correspondence that we've received by emails or letters and just people talking to us in public. So, I don't know. How's council feel about the idea of taking a little bit of public input? How long? 15 minutes? 30 minutes?
Take that long, but
Let's see how it goes.
but I'm not sure that, I feel like we have gotten a lot of public comment and we've gotten probably nearly 100 emails overall since the beginning of it. But if you feel the need to, I'm not sure that I think we've gotten a lot of comment and a lot of discussion, and it's time for some action.
Yeah, it's definitely time for action. I'll just make a motion, though, and so we can vote on that since we're in a special meeting. And so I would need a second. I move that we take public input for 15 minutes.
I second that.
Yeah, I'd like to have some input into that myself. That
this is
decision
new.
you just made, I'd like to have some input into that.
Put a motion up.
All the people I see in the audience are the same people who have been here. So having more discussion at this point, I think, is not going to get us anywhere. So I think if you're going to have the executive session, I think we just need to have it.
We haven't voted on that yet.
Get
so-
that out of the way. I'm not going to vote for an executive session, but if you're going to do that, let's do that, and then just come out and vote.
Okay. Let's see. So, yeah, it's a valid point. All in favor of taking some public comment, please say aye. Got one opposed?
No.
Okay, that motion fails. Okay, any other motions?
Well, I think that there is not agreement on going immediately into a into a private session. So I think that is something that we need to actually vote on. I think, and I think Ms. McKinney had a proposal for a process that I would like to have her describe and perhaps move to do that, because I don't think there is universal agreement on going directly into a closed session.
Okay, well, for the sake of moving things ahead, I'll make a motion to go into an executive session. I actually usually do that.
I know, and I'd prefer not to, because I don't think we should.
Okay.
But yeah,
Do you want, we have to read the document, and this would be to make the motion, we can have discussion, and, the vote can be not to go into executive session at this time.
I mean,
Well, can't Miss McKinney also make a motion, though, if she wants to make a motion that's
it-
not that?
See, and you seconded my my motion, Ms. Bo? Okay. Any,
yeah, what is the, yeah.
well, the motion was that we should go into executive session, but I did not read the proper documentation. So, as a friendly amendment, I'll just say, I'd like to make a motion that we move read the appropriate motion to go into executive session.
Pope, would you like to read it? Because I would prefer.
We can just vote on that, and then if that fails, which it may or may not, then we can do that. So, Ms. Pope, is that okay?
Before you read the motion, just want to point out that there's two languages that we prepared. One would allow you to come back into open session, and the other one would not. You would not come back to
Well,
open session. So be mindful of which one you're reading.
I'll withdraw my motion, and Ms. Pope, will you withdraw your second? Of course. Okay.
I think Mr. Roberts has a point of clarification.
Mr. Roberts, please.
First I'm hearing.
Just the three dot.
The other end has another idea, apparently another idea that of some kind of discussion or something before an executive session. So I'd like to at least hear, what you got to say.
Okay,
Because
well, I withdrew my motion.
I haven't heard
Ms.
it up
McKinney,
at
please go
this
ahead.
end.
So my suggestion was that we have had time individually to hopefully listen to the public. We've listened to the interviews. Hopefully everyone had a chance to go back and read emails and look at the rubric that we presented. I do think that we should share that rubric again with the community. But I think we've all had a chance to do a little bit of deliberation on our own. So I do think that it may make sense to try to do an initial vote, but let that be secret vote, by ballot vote, I guess not secret vote, by ballot vote. And then if we do have a selection, which we've all landed on, then we can move forward from there. If not, after that one vote, we would then move into closed session. And then in that session, the other thing to consider is from that ballot, it may also make sense to try to streamline the process to look at maybe those that received the most of the votes through this initial vote, so that we're not necessarily going and deliberating on all applicants. We're trying to narrow it down a little bit more.
So are you saying each council member would just vote for whoever their particular vote is for, but we're not going to make a motion, we're voting on this person? Each council member could write in whoever they wanted.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So then if we come out of this initial vote and there is no selection that has gotten, I guess, 4 votes, then we would then move into special session, closed session. And then we would have the deliberation there in closed session. Then we would come back out after that. But in the closed session, my recommendation was to try to streamline and not have the deliberation be on all candidates or all applicants, but all of those that may have received the higher amount of votes from the council in that initial vote. Does that make sense, Mr. Roberts?
Yeah, it does, but I don't know I don't think it's going to be that complicated myself. But.
May not. Just a suggestion as a process.
Let's see. So I just think, I respect the perspectives of my colleagues on council, and each of us has, different circles of spheres of influence and different thought process. So for me to have a vote before we actually have heard each other's perspectives and points of view doesn't seem like a good idea. I really want to hear what everybody else's perspective is before we take a vote. I think that would certainly inform my voting subsequently. And we're not going to be voting in the executive session. We're going to be talking about the qualifications and trying to come to a consensus about who the most qualified candidate might be. It's just my opinion. Anybody else want to speak?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think that makes sense because I think that would pretty much clear up the whole process. I think when we came out, I think we would vote on that whoever it was probably on the first round. So yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, I don't like the thought of doing the executive session, but maybe in this case that's the best thing to do.
Also, in the executive session, because I heard you very clearly, and I think you've got you got a couple of good points. So as we're moving through, I think we can perhaps, based on the qualifications, narrow down our considerations, and we'd be able to perhaps let people know where they stand, more or less. And this may go quickly. It may not go quickly, but we'll see.
Well, is the motion on the table to take a vote first, and then we can see how that goes?
Yes.
So,
And I believe did you make a motion?
Can you repeat that?
You want to make a motion that we,
Sure. I move to take one initial vote before moving into executive session. And then if there is not a consensus vote, then we would automatically go we would move to an executive session.
second that? Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor, and this would simple majority, so it would take 4 for this motion to go forward. So all in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. So it wasn't 4, so it won't move forward. Vote was 3-3,
So
not to take a public vote before caucusing.
what was that, Mr. Roberts? Were you a no?
He was a no.
Yeah.
I heard him, and the clerk heard me, so.
Well, I am willing at this point to make the motion as is usual for the mayor pro tem since since we tried that first.
Can you put the rubric up on the screen
yeah.
just briefly?
And this will be a motion, this will be a motion to go into closed session, but to come back
back,
to
yeah.
the special meeting. Okay.
And also, I've spoken with our municipal council, Mr. Deloche, and he informed me and the city manager that we can come out into an open session, take a vote in an open session, and if we haven't really come to a consensus, if we're not able to move forward, we can go back into an executive session subsequently. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, and you can use the same exception that you're going into closed session now, which is the administrative exemption. If you choose to change the exception, you can. You just have to use the proper language for the exception.
Yeah, did you want to talk about this, the criteria at all, or did you just want me to put it up?
Yeah. Do you want to? You kind of summarized the rubric quite well earlier today. Do you want to kind of?
Well,
go
I
through
think
it?
all I did was I copied and pasted these into the side of a spreadsheet and then put candidate names at the top so that people could fill out individually, put their ranking on each category and get a sum. I mean, I can show the blank spreadsheet, but that's all it was. It was just taking these and copying it over into a spreadsheet.
I'll just quickly kind of read through these, and it is up on the screen, so people on Zoom or on Facebook or YouTube will be able to see it. So it's a consolidated list of criteria for council vacancy candidates. Number 1, motivation, reason for wishing to serve on council. Number 2, qualifications, skills, knowledge, and talents. Evaluating the candidate's relevant experience, leadership background, experience in governance and or other skill sets would complement council. Number 3, community involvement and stakeholder engagement, examining their track record of local engagement, including the active community engagement in constituent districts where resident engagement has been prioritized by city planning, available to attend city events and do the job. Number 4, demonstrated public service track record, participation on city committees, community and or advisory groups. Consider the past achievements and impact of the community. Number 5, collaboration and competency. Evaluate their willingness to work together with colleagues and collaborate, including dealing with conflict and conflicting interest. Number 6, diverse perspectives and inclusivity. Lived experience that creates new perspectives and insights for strategic partnerships. This could include social, economic, cultural diversity, as well as geographical representation of the city. Assess the commitment to diversity and inclusivity. Number 7, innovation vision. Evaluate short and long-term vision for the city. What major change would you like to see happen in the city and why? Things like that. And number 8, integrity, accountability, motivation, character. Assess the ethical conduct and personal behavior through letters of support, financial disclosures, or other means. So that's what the questions that we did the interviews were based on, and that's sort of a decision-making matrix or rubric or framework that we're going to use as council discusses the qualifications of the candidates in order to try and rank to make a vote for an appointment in public. Councilmember McKinney.
And just to clarify, with this, with these qualifications or this criteria, there was nothing that was weighed more heavily than others in that
No,
list.
we did not rank we did not prioritize or rank the qualifications and the criteria. So, yes, please, Mr. Sullivan.
I would be remiss, Mayor, if I didn't share what the solicitors share with me that when you're in closed session, the conversation must be limited to qualifications and no individual preferences for a candidate. It's solely on qualifications. The solicitor advised that when you're in closed session, the conversation should be limited to the qualifications for the role and no individual preference. So you couldn't say what candidate you have a personal preference for. It has to be solely on the qualifications.
How are you going to talk about qualifications without talking about particular people?
We'll work it out.
I think
Preference,
I think the solicitor is a little bit off because it never happens like that. You know, when we have a discussion in an executive session, we have a discussion about whatever we need to discuss.
Well,
We're not-
bottom line,
I don't think that, I'm going to vote against the executive session anyway because I just want to vote.
understood.
That's what I want to do. You know? Maybe I should have, voted the other way before, but yeah, I think those directions are ridiculous.
Bottom line is we're not going to take any votes. We're just trying to rank the candidates by qualifications, and we can do that by discussing, our impressions, our personal impressions. Ultimately, the rubric is helpful, but it's still, as far as what we ultimately vote on in public afterwards, that's not what we'll be focusing on. My preference would be when we come out of this, if somehow we can do this appointment by acclamation. We may not be able to do that. Consensus building is very important to me, but that's just my point of view. Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I think I can give an example that may help Mr. Roberts is, for example, you can't say, I prefer candidate A and I'm planning to vote for candidate A, but you could say, I think candidate A has a lot of experience in this area and that would be valuable on council. So I think that's the difference, is that that you are talking about the qualifications of
And
that.
who made up these rules? Is that in the charter? Does our
no,
charter
well,
say that?
I generally think it's a good idea to
that's-
listen to
that's
legal
That's
advice.
ridiculous. The only reason I would go into executive session is if we could sat there and have a frank discussion about, I want this person, you want that person, how do we iron it out? That's what you need to do. This thing you're talking about now is just ridiculous. There's nothing in our charter or anywhere else that says we have to conduct a meeting like that.
I think the
And,
lawyer
and a
disagrees.
meeting like that has never occurred in
It's
32
the Open
years
Meeting
of me
Act.
being here.
But let's.
So I don't know where
can-
you're coming up with that stuff.
It's the Open Meeting Act. Go ahead and please.
I don't think it is. I don't
I'm-
think it is.
I move that council go into closed session in accordance with Section 3-305B1 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of the Public General Laws of Maryland, 1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. The purpose of this meeting will be for council to discuss candidate qualifications for an appointment to council to fill the current vacancy. Note that council will return to open session following this closed session.
Is there a second? Okay, Ms. Pope is seconded.
Mr. Mayor?
Shall
We're not
I?
doing public comment, Mr. Orleans.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay, all in, Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. McKinney?
Yes.
Ms. Pompey?
Yes.
Ms. Pope?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
No,
Ms. Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Jordan?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you very much. Just, I really want to thank all of the applicants and so much passion in the community, so many supporters. This has been a long process, and as I said before, I really don't know how long this may take, but we will be post a notice before we come back into open session. We'll send out an email, so you can either follow it on Zoom or on cable TV or YouTube or Facebook.
So we're planning to keep the live stream going since you're going to go meet in the library. We'll keep the live feed going here. So folks would know where in the process we're in, and I'm happy to make announcements through the video and audio feed.
Just trying to manage people's expectations a little bit. I don't think we're coming back in 5 or 10 minutes. We might, but who knows? So, it's too late for sushi. All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
So,
Or you want me to go close my door there? Okay. All right. Excellent.
Shania, did you happen to note what time we did the vote to go into closed session?
Yes, y'all need to close.
No bruises. It's okay. Everything's all right. Thing flew through the room. You know that I'm the only one with a really good sense of humor, right? Because nobody else is making jokes, right?
Yeah, but we need to close the executive session. We kind of ended at 9:38.
No, that's the clock in there is wrong. Yeah, but that clock said it is only 8:38. The clock in there is an hour
Yes,
fast.
it was about 4 minutes ago.
It's not 9:38, it's 8:38.
Okay. That's what I was saying.
I'm not taking my computer anymore. That's it.
Okay, so we need a motion to reconvene, come out of executive session.
I move that we come out of executive session and reconvene our special meeting.
Second. Second.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. McKinney?
Yes.
Ms. Pompey?
Yes.
Ms. Pope?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts? Ms. Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Jordan?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Well, thank you. So at this point, we are going to take a vote. Public, we talked about the qualifications of the candidates and had a lively discussion. So we're back in public session now to take a vote. And I believe we have some ballots. Seems to be something going on over here. Let's see, we're going to take ballots. Do you have
We have the ballots, and you have ballots there too, so we can pass around a first round, and then you start. I mean, if you're going to do a paper ballot for the candidate, and you're only doing no rank voting, just voting for a candidate, we would recommend that you put a check. We'll pass out the paper ballots. You mark your vote, fold the ballot, put it in the basket, and I'll carry the basket and I'll collect all the ballots, and we will tally the vote here.
Good.
Okay. All right. And I can take that envelope from there. Okay, I've got the ballots. Do you have a preference if I call out every ballot as I pull out, or wait until I've done counting them? Okay. Just count. Okay. Okay, I have a total of 6 votes. 3 for Matthew Enzio, 2 for Amy Nessel, 1 for Kevin Lockhart, no votes for Leon Shatter, and no votes for Julie Winters. Matthew Enzio, 2 votes for Amy Nessel, and
Yeah, Mr. Orleans, please.
1 vote for Kevin Lockhart.
Okay, so we've got a couple of options. We can take another vote. We can not recess. We can go back into an executive session and talk some more. I think this has been helpful, but it's going to take 4 votes to actually appoint an individual to council. So, what is council's will? We would need to make a motion to go into executive session with the caveat of coming back out to take votes in public.
I'd like to just have another vote. Just,
I would propose we just have another vote.
Okay. Let's have another vote.
We can't accept the vote as like this. No, we can't. You have to have 4.
It has to be
Oh,
a
gotcha.
majority.
Okay. I gotcha.
That's your second ballot. Okay, I've collected 6 votes, 2 votes for Matthew Enzio, 4 votes for Amy Nessel, no votes for the other candidates.
What was that again?
2 votes for Matt Enzio, 4 votes for Amy Nessel.
Okay. Well, we've got 4 votes. We have a majority, so
At this point, I would like to move to appoint Amy Nessel for the vacancy on the city council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is that a roll call? All in favor, please say aye.
I think we should have a.
That is a
should be
roll call, given that it has to be, so that it's recorded, the numbers.
Ms. McKinney?
Aye.
Ms. Pope?
Aye.
Ms. Pompey?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Jordan?
Yes.
Motion passed.
So congratulations, Amy. And for the other individuals that put their name forward, that have worked so hard over the past couple of months, and just to move through this process, your efforts have not gone unnoticed in any way. And it's so important that you continue to sustain what you've done in terms of community outreach, focusing in on the issues, coming out to council meetings and work sessions and advisory boards, and just being a part of Greenbelt. Greenbelt is all of us working together. That's what makes the city a great place to live, work, and play. So as far as the logistics of how we move forward, I think we'll formally swear you in as a council person at the next council meeting, which will be coming up the first week in February. What's the date of that? February 12th. And as mayor, I'm able to swear in police officers. I believe that I can swear you in, but I think you would probably want to have family members or friends here for the ceremony. So rather than do that tonight, at some point with the city manager and the clerk, I can just swear in. We have a retreat coming up on Saturday. There's a Four Cities meeting tomorrow evening.
Wouldn't it be preferable to have her sworn in before the Saturday session?
Yeah, and I can do that Thursday or Friday.
Maybe we should just swear her in tonight, and then you can have a formal, more something, acknowledging it at the next meeting or something.
I could do that. And then
Do we have handy the,
Just a few minutes, we'll get you the oath.
this has been a very difficult process. Losing Councilman Gordon is something that none of us could have expected. Worst case scenario. And this process of figuring out, the charter describes how council has to make the appointment. Council has the discretion. I think every situation is unique. So as we had planned, we will be doing charter itself, at some point this year, probably not until we get through the budget process. Council, staff, the city manager will be doing a comprehensive look at the city charter. The situation with the vacancy occurring so soon after a election, it's just not really spelled out. So we made the decision to open up the process. We made the decision to extend the deadline, and that's how we got here tonight. Do we have the oath?
Careful now.
Yes, we do. Shania is changing the date and updating the oath so that when it's read, it can be signed and it's the right form.
Okay, thank you. So members, anybody want to make a comment?
I just want to say again, thank you to all the candidates, just to reinforce what I said earlier. This is not an easy process. It is not easy to put yourself out there like that, and it takes a lot of work. So I want to thank you all again for just being part of this process and being open about where you stand and your views for the community. I think every single one of you participate in your own way and really wanted to be part of the next version of Greenbelt. So thank you so much.
and I think there were I think from all of the candidates, there were a lot of strengths shown both through the materials brought in and the interviews. And I think everybody had something that they could have contributed. Had any of the five, I think, would have been an asset to Greenbelt City Council in a different way. So again, we appreciate. I know it's hard to come forward and do that, but I think everybody had something to offer, and it was a lot to weigh. So we appreciate that.
Comments?
I'll just echo that we really appreciate everybody's participation in the process, because it doesn't, government doesn't work without participation. And it is hard to put yourself out there, and it's hard to lose. As someone who has lost, I know it's hard. So I just want everyone to know that, as Kristen said, we really did feel like every candidate had strengths that they could bring to this council. And I just really appreciate everybody putting themselves out there and, stay involved. It's great to have you all coming to meetings and to have your participation.
Okay. Mr. Roberts.
There's only 1 year and 11 months to the next election. So everybody, come out to meetings, stand up there and let people know how you feel about all the issues, because that's what we need. We need people to come out and express their views publicly right there at that podium. And that will be the betterment of our community. And also, if you want to, run the next time and get elected, that's how in my opinion, that's the best way to do it. But, and also, I'll say the same thing as everyone else. Thank you for being willing to put your hat out here, because I know that politics is hell. I've lived it, I know. So, good luck in the next election, because I think most of you are going to be around for that. So, yeah, I hope everyone is, because we need that variety. We need numbers. So thank you all.
Let's see, Ms. Pope.
Yeah, thank you. Of course. To everybody. Okay, now it's working. And like I said yesterday, it's not easy to put yourself out there, and it's nerve-wracking. And I hope to be never in a situation like this again, quite honestly, because this is not what I wanted to do. This is, I truly believe in the election process, a democratic election process where people elect their elected officials. But of course, we are with these circumstances, which no one expected. We were placed in this situation. So we do have to make sure or ensure that we put something in place that we're not going to be in that situation, because any way you vote, anything you say, you're going to hurt somebody. You're dealing with people, you're hurting, and that's not the intent. So it's hard, it's difficult, but the choice has been made, and I want to thank you for everybody for your participation, of course, and Amy, for you, of course. Should there be anything, we will help you and guide you and make sure that you feel welcomed. Thank you.
Well, at this time, let's see, is there a microphone? If you would just hold on, we'll get to public comment. Sir.
We're not doing public comment right now, Mr. Orleans.
No, there were people online as well. They wanted to be recognized, and we did not. So
Let's see, is there a
we
microphone?
have to be fair.
Do you want me to just...
Well, that's fine, but I'm just making your comment, so I hope you heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You want me to hold it?
This is,
You want to hold it, or
this is Mr. Roberts' microphone. I'm not sure if I want to touch it. Okay. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name, do hereby swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland, and support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that I will, to the best of my skill and knowledge, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Member of Council of the City of Greenbelt. According to the Constitution and laws of the state. Congratulations. Thank you. So you need to,
Yes, yes, come.
I said your name wrong. I said Niesel. I'll remember that. Yeah.
Kniesel is a German name, right?
It is.
Yeah, I'm German.
And I just learned that my ancestors
Kniesel?
and I pronounce it Niesel, so that's
Kniesel,
why I accept anything.
need to get you to sign this.
These sometimes they're not very good.
And I'd like to actually invite the other applicants, if you'd like to say anything or share any thoughts, you are welcome to do so.
And I think, can we make sure that microphone is on? There was a comment online that it was hard to hear.
Now that I'm up here, I'm not really sure what I wanted to say. Mostly, I just wanted to congratulate Amy and thank you all for being so thoughtful and diligent in this process. Because I think all of the candidates recognize that this wasn't easy for any of you either. So thank you for muscling through it.
Thank you. Any of the other applicants? So, members of the public, would you like to speak? Yeah, please, sir.
Bill Orleans, I may recognize the capacity of incumbent council more so than even it does. However low regard I may hold some or all of you, you have the capacity to do more than one thing at a time. At the next regular meeting, as has been suggested before, could have been done at any of the previous regular meetings, any one of you or our newest member of council can introduce a resolution to change the charter, amend the charter to allow for special elections to fill any vacancies. A reasonable companion to that suggested change in the charter would be to, at our next election, elect our council by district. These are old suggestions made all the more relevant with the passing of Rick Gordon. This kind of pretentious charade that council's been directed over the course of the last 3 weeks to a month should never be repeated again. We shouldn't have applicants for selection. We should allow the residents of the various neighborhoods in Greenbelt to elect to fill any vacancy. We should not wait until August or some point in the future after the budget and after the summer. This resolution to amend the charter should begin at the soonest opportunity.
Yes, please.
Claudia Jones, Laurel Hill Road. I'm looking forward to the council amending or changing the charter. Congratulations, Amy. But I have some concerns here, and I think they're valid. I understood, okay, you wanted to, you set a date for December 8th, I think it was, and you reopened the process again because of lack of communication at Franklin Park. And I agree with that. And yes, you were torn, so was I. I understood that. And I don't want to call him out. I'm going to have to. Coach K did not hear about this. So you reopened the process, and I'm sure there were others. You had listening sessions, but I understand there was a low turnout on Franklin Park. So I agreed with that, and I was torn too, but in the same token, I was upset because you made the other candidates, and I know because I helped a candidate get the 50 signatures. And I felt like you penalized the other candidates when you set the December 8th closing date, because it was only, 7 days, 8 days, something like that. And I had the time. I had the time to help the candidate. You know who the candidate is. And I helped the candidate. And when you reopened the process, I was very upset because I felt like you penalized the other candidates. So, but I understand Coach K too. And it is a problem that they're not getting the communications, what's going on in the city or from the city council. That's evident because I was in Giant last week and I ran into, and I don't want to say her name because I haven't talked to her, but I ran into her and her husband. And she said, Claudia, it's a problem. She says, I understand where you're coming from, but it's a problem. So I asked the city council moving forward, you make an effort and work with the Franklin Park management and the Franklin Park community and keep them engaged, interested, and involved so they know what's going on. It is a problem. And honestly, I feel like you canceled my vote. So I hope this never happens again.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other comments or thoughts or online? I'm not seeing any
They're
questions.
I think all the comments were old comments, and then one about the audio.
Okay. So we've got a work session coming up on Monday when we'll be getting a quarterly update from the city manager. We'll also, in executive session, be talking about personnel issues and actually working with the city manager, who's relatively new, and talking about our evaluation process and how we'll move forward with that. So there's a ton of things that we need to do, and we're 3 months into the council term and a 2-year term. So there is a lot of work to be done. I really want to thank the applicants for the efforts that they put into going through this process, and I want to thank the public for all of their input. So that's that, pretty much. There's just a lot of work. There's a lot of work council has to do, and we'll be talking about that at the retreat on Saturday. So I'd like to ask all of council to actually put a little thought into their short-term and long-term goals. We're going to be doing some team building, but we're also going to be trying to come to an agreement on some goals, working towards a plan for the next 2 years for council. Partially based on what we've done in the past. But so we got to think about that a little bit. Saturday's coming up in 2 days. And Amy, you got some homework. Yeah. So at this point, let's, could I have a motion to call this meeting to a close?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.